No matter where you go, there you are. Have you ever noticed that some people they'll get married numerous times and each one of those times starts off in a honeymoon stage and that person thinks that the other person is just so wonderful. They don't even can't even understand how they ever managed to live without that new person. Well, after a short period of time, that excitement begins to wear off, and then they start noticing all the bad things about that new partner. And strangely and mysteriously, many of those bad things that they see are very, very similar to those that were possessed by their previous partner. So the murmuring and the complaining will begin, and the next thing you know, they're once again kicking Mr. or Mrs. Wonderful to the curb, and then the cycle starts all over again. Well, what went wrong? The problem might not be in that sorry person that you end up with each time. The problem might be something that's going on in the inside of you. I've actually heard that some people are addicted to the new love experience, the giddiness that you have whenever you first fall in love. It might be something going on in the inside of your heart. It might be a spirit of discontentment that causes you to soon become disenchanted. When I say a spirit of discontentment, I'm not talking about a demonic spirit or anything like that. I'm talking about a personality trait that's going on in the inside of you. You may be looking at the other person's flaws and overlooking the things that first caused you to be attracted to that person. You see, you are the person that is common to each one of these relationships. And no matter where you go, there you are. Likewise, on a job, there are people that cannot hold down a job because they quickly become disenchanted with their place of employment. The job starts off being great, but in a very short period of time, they start seeing the things that they don't like. So once again, the murmuring begins, the complaining begins, and the next thing you know, they're looking for a new job. You see, no matter where you go, there you are. Likewise with churches, people get aggravated with their church. When they first started going to that church, it seemed just so wonderful that they think to themselves, man, I wish I'd found this place a long time ago. But then after a very short period of time, they notice that the preacher's sermons are just gotten too long. They don't like the music. The music is too loud. The chairs are too hard. The temperature is never right. The people are just not likable. They don't like the way the church is spending money, and the list just goes on and on and on. Well, it might be that the problem is once again inside of you and not necessarily with the church. I remember Pastor V. Tipton used to say that if you ever find a perfect church, don't go there because you'll ruin it. You see, people are not perfect, and we're always going to be able to find faults with people. We're always going to be able to find things we don't like, but we can't concentrate on those things. We have to concentrate on the positive things, on the things that we do like. We have to love people. So on and on, the murmuring and the complaining about everything in the church. But the commonality is not the churches that you've gone to, one after another. The common aspect is you. The common aspect is me. Have you ever considered that you might be the problem? The only problem might be what is going on the inside of you. You see, no matter where you go, there you are. This was a problem that the Jews had when God had delivered them out of Egypt. And it was so severe, it was such a severe problem that not only did they have to walk around in the wilderness and the desert for 40 years, but ultimately that generation was forbidden to go into the promised land. Listen carefully to what it says in Exodus 17, and this is where the Jews are complaining to Moses because they don't have no water. Now God knew that they needed water. He knew that they needed food. And if they had asked him in the right way, if their heart had been right, God would have provided this readily for them. But would you like to give things to somebody that's murmuring and complaining all the time? Or would you rather give it to someone that is appreciative of the things that you've already done for them? I remember one time many years ago, we was on a bowling league, and these people that were on this guy's team had all driven off and just left him there, and he had no way of getting home. And so I took him home, and as he got out, I would have thought he would have said, thank you, I appreciate it, or something. But he didn't. It was like he just expected it, like it was something that he deserved, that was due to him. And at that point, I could see why the people really were not too over anxious to help him out. So let's read Exodus 17 and listen to their attitude here. It says, "And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron." So it's almost adversarial from the beginning. "And the people chode with Moses, and they spake, saying, Would God that we had died when our brothers died before the Lord. And why have you, Moses, brought up the congregation of the Lord into the wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place? It is a place of no seeds, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water here for us to drink." When they were slaves in Egypt, I'm sure that they had many things to complain about legitimately. But that spirit of discontentment was still alive and well within them. You see, no matter where you go, there you are. They should have been thankful to God because He had miraculously delivered them from the land of Egypt and out of the hand of Pharaoh and out of their slavery. But instead, their eyes were not on the positive things. They were single-mindedly looking at the negativity. I have two twin grandsons, and when they were in the first or the second grade, they were involved in a PTA program at school, and I overheard them talking to one another, and they said, Mom and Dad and Nana, they won't be able to go because they're having to work that day. The other grandson replied back to the twin, and he said, "Yeah, but you know Granddad will be there." Now, I really did not want to go to the PTA meeting, but how could I not go when they had verbalized such confidence in the fact that I would be there no matter what? I don't have to tell you, my friend, I went to the PTA meeting. I believe God is like that. When we verbalize our faith and our confidence in Him, He will surely be there when we need Him to be there. Sometimes it may seem like He's a million miles away, but God is right there with us. Two things I think will help you in this aspect of negativity and discontentment, the spirit of discontentment, is first of all, avoid people who are full of negativity. You see, discontentment is contagious. I remember years ago we went to a church where the pastor had been there for over 40 years, and he left, retired, and went on to other things. But it just seemed like there was a spirit of negativity, and there was nothing wrong that the new pastor had done or was doing, but people were just discontented, it seemed like, and one after another they began to leave the church, and it was a heartbreaking thing, but it was a spirit of discontentment. So avoid people that are full of negativity because it is contagious. And then secondly, think on the good things, not on the bad things. It's easy for us to think on the bad things. It seems like maybe we're people that want to fix it, but make yourself think on the good things. If it's a spouse, a mate, think of the things that you love, that you like about that person, and don't concentrate and think just on the things that you don't like. Thank God for your husband or your wife. Think on the things that once caused you to fall in love with your mate. Thank God each day for your job. He's given it to you so that you can provide for your family. I have a friend named Gail, and one Sunday night I said to him, "Well, we have to go back to work tomorrow." And Gail responded to me like this. He said, "No, I don't have to go to work tomorrow." He said, "I get to go to work tomorrow." No, I don't have to work tomorrow. I get to go to work tomorrow. What a great attitude and statement of thankfulness. No, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I get to go to work tomorrow. Which attitude do you think your supervisor would prefer you to have? The attitude that says, I have to go to work tomorrow, or the attitude that says, I get to go to work tomorrow? Now let's take it one step further. Which of these two people is your boss most likely to listen to whenever the employee has a complaint? Would he be more likely to listen to the person that has a great attitude and says, I get to go to work every day? Or would he listen to the person that's always unhappy, always murmuring, and always complaining? Well, I think the answer is very obvious. You know that the person that's always murmuring and complaining is just another day in the life of Riley for them, because they're complaining all the time. So the boss is probably not going to listen to them. And I think that carries over into your relationship with God. If you're coming to God out of a thankful heart, I believe He's more likely to answer your prayers and to meet your needs. Once again, God will move upon those needs of the people that are thankful. But the unthankful person, He just allows them to cook in their own juices. My dad was paralyzed from his shoulders down, and he couldn't move anything beneath his shoulders for 7 years. He could swing his head, his shoulders. He could swing his shoulders a little bit, and he could move his neck and his head, but that was all. But on numerous occasions, I heard people say that I came to minister to him, but instead, he ministered to me. You see, Dad's attitude was so unbelievably good that he encouraged everyone that he saw to be thankful for what they had. At least they could move their arms and their legs. At least they could feed themselves, and they could walk to the bathroom when they needed to go. You would think that the person who has the most in this world would be the one who would be the most thankful. But most of the time, the exact opposite is true. The person with the most is unthankful, but the person with the least is the most thankful for those things which he does have. You see, no matter where you go, there you are. Heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord God, for all of your many blessings. And I pray, God, that you forgive me, because sometimes I'm not as thankful. Most of the times, I'm not as thankful. Actually, Lord, all the time, I'm not as thankful as I should be for the many, many blessings that you've bestowed upon me. I thank you, God, that you've given me a family to love. You've given me a church where I can be inspired and encouraged. You've given me food on my table, and Lord, I receive that food as though it's from your hands, setting it on my table, Lord. And I thank you. I thank you for that food. I thank you for the ability to pay my bills, Lord. And I thank you for health and for so many blessings, God. Forgive me, Lord, that so often I'm unthankful.